fearless, you got fire. He's the spark that lifts you higher. You were made for joy, made for more. It's time to walk through heaven's door. The world is yours, take your place. Every dream aligned with grace. Overflow is your reward. Walk it out, abundance is yours. Oh, you can change it every time. Hope and faith, they realign. You're not stuck, not anymore. 'Cause girl, abundance is yours.
Welcome, everyone. It is Julie Loughlin Haers with Define Abundance, and I'm so excited to have my friend and associate with me, Doug Ferrier. Doug, welcome to Define Abundance.
Hey, Julie, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I know, I'm so excited to have you here. We finally connected, right? Our schedules have been a little crazy, but we finally linked in. Doug, I'm trying to think back. When did we meet? I think it was at the Unleashed event a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, at Movement Maker Live.
Movement Maker Live in Nashville. I remember seeing your talk and being really inspired by it. And I'm like, I got to get to know this guy. So Doug, tell the audience a little bit about your business, what it is that you're focusing on. I know you're doing a lot of different things, but maybe your core focus of 2026. What are some things that you're excited about this year?
So my core focus is it's simple. It's helping small business owners get out of their own way, whether it's in their personal lives or their business, because 95% of the time they are the bottleneck.
Yes.
Help them get out of their way and work on their business as well as on themselves so they can build the business and the life that they dream about.
Yeah, I love that, Doug. That's awesome. And I know that you've had a lot of success in business. I know you've been in the construction trades and, earlier in your earlier life, and you had a lot of business success quickly. Tell the audience a little bit about your background that really qualifies you to be this small business coach.
Like many people, I started at a job as a teenager. It was a part-time job. For me, though, it was punishment because I was a troublemaker. And I stuck with it, made a career out of it. I grew. At one point, I was working for Canada's largest roofing company. I was in charge of eight-figure worth of projects,
Yeah.
overseeing on average about 80 people, plus sub-trades. So there was a lot on my plate. And then from there, I started my own business, which was always a vision of mine. And I've had the success, but I've also had the pitfalls. I've had those downturns for myself, and I really learned a lot from that. They say we learn more from our failures than we do from our successes.
Amen.
And what I've learned from those failures, they're not failures, they're lessons. And it really helps me build a better system and to help guide others and see the roadblocks before they see them or before they hit them.
That's great. I mean, I really believe in when you're working with a coach, you want to know a little bit about the coach's background and you want to know that they've actually walked in your shoes. And I knew that about you and I wanted you to share that with the audience because, why I decided to specialize in divorce, financial planning and post-divorce financial coaching was because I have first-hand experience with it. And I know how hard and devastating it can be. So I know, with all of your experience and the fact that, you've had a lot of success, but you also went through some really tough things and you learned a lot through that, how impactful you can be as a coach because you've actually walked in the shoes of a small business owner. And I think that's pretty amazing. Doug, this is a question I ask all of my guests. What does abundance mean to you?
Abundance is, I don't know if I always say it's simple, but there's a lot out there for everybody. We quite easily get into this scarcity mindset naturally where we think that other people are trying to take from us, which subconsciously puts us in a bad spot because then we're in a reactive state.
Yeah.
But when we think in terms of abundance, that there is more than enough for everybody grows.
Yeah.
We don't need to hoard stuff for ourselves or clients or money because there's so much for everybody. And the reality is when we're in an abundant mindset, we're actually more open to receiving.
Yes. Yes, true. I say the abundance, the energy of abundance is almost like a mirror, right? It's like what you put out, you will receive back. And that's the law of the universe, really. But I think that that's really important for people to understand and to hear from coming from you, but also coming from me. It's almost like the more I get out of my own head and what's in it for me, and I think about how can I help this other person? It just seems like the universe, God, whatever you believe in, just continues to bless me abundantly. So I look for opportunities to help others, generally because that's how I'm set up. My personality is just who I am. I always want to help people. I always want to add value and help them get where they want to go. So I
Yeah.
totally am aligned with you on that, Doug. Thanks for sharing that.
I have a quick analogy I want to throw
Yeah.
at you just to keep in mind. Maybe this is something that's relatable to you or to one of the listeners.
Mhm.
If you take abundance and scarcity and put them into sports terms, I love using sports terms because I was pretty athletic when I was younger.
Mhm.
Um, Scarcity mindset puts you in defensive mode. So if you're a hockey team and you're only playing defensively, you're never going to win the game because you're not going to score. The
Mhm.
abundance is when you play offensively as well,
Yes. Yep.
because you know that
Um,
even if somebody scores on you, you have
yeah.
the opportunity to score more.
Right. Right. I'll just use it a wrestling analogy when we talk about, with my son, being on your heels or being on your toes. And we always encourage him, be on your toes, be ready to strike, strike first. That gives you an advantage because you only have 3 3-minute periods to to win the match, right? So
Yeah.
you got to strike first, strike hard. And the more often you do that, the greater the chances are that you're going to win. Like it's actually proven in wrestling. So I totally agree with that, what you're saying. As you think about, Doug, your life in totality, what is something that you've overcome that you're really proud of? Maybe a tough time in life, or maybe a situation, but something that you overcame and you were like, I'm really proud that I kind of got through this situation.
Oh, just one, eh?
Well,
Um,
maybe your top one, you know what I mean?
I would say my top one, when you heard me on stage in 2024, that was my biggest one. That's when I hit my rock bottom, my bottom of all rock bottoms, where I stood at the edge of the roof because everything, relationships, business, everything you could think of was failing in my life. And I stood at the edge of the roof thinking there was only one way out.
Mm,
But I turned that around. I stepped back from the edge and used that as a pivot point and a point to learn from and grow from.
and thank God that you did too, Doug. Your work isn't done here and you're meant to help a
No,
lot of other people.
absolutely.
Hmm. Wow, that's pretty profound. That's pretty big overcoming. Like, I haven't heard that one yet. So you kind of made me stop and think there. Thank you. What is something that you're just really proud of? Like something like a win in the last couple of years that you're like, you know what? This is just something that I've worked on or I've been working towards, and it's something that I was able to accomplish, and I'm just so excited about it.
I'd say the biggest win like that would be I used to have a fuse as long as the hair on top of my head.
Not very long.
No, I would snap at the drop of a hat, and
Yeah,
now that fuse is more like the length of your hair. It takes a
very
lot
long,
to push
very
me over
long
the
and
edge.
luxurious.
Exactly.
That's
I used to
awesome.
have hair like that, believe it or not.
Yeah. So
Um,
you've changed your temperament, right?
yeah, and the
How
interesting
did you
thing
do
is,
that? How did you do that?
it started with changing what was going into my mind.
Hmm.
Because we think of diet as only food, but diet's also what we put into our mind. And that's a
Yes.
bigger thing. So I used to start my days, I'd watch a 24-hour news channel. That was the first thing I would do. I used to smoke cigarettes. I was smoking about 35, 40 cigarettes a day.
Yeah.
So the very first thing was a cigarette and a coffee with milk and sugar in it. Then I'd watch the news, 24-hour news
Mm.
channel.
Yep.
They literally, if it bleeds, it leads. Like they are horrific
Yep.
about what they show. And I couldn't understand why I was in a negative state of mind or in a depressive state.
Hmm.
Um, I ended up changing that. I quit smoking around the time I had my rooftop moment, actually, is when I quit smoking. I now get up in the morning, I meditate right away.
Hmm.
At least 10 minutes of meditation, just focus time. And then recently I got back into praying and I
Love
say a
it.
short little prayer of gratitude,
Hmm.
ask for guidance and forgiveness. And then
Yep.
I read. And when I read, it's either personal or business development. So I can study to be a better version of myself and I can also lead better.
That's amazing. That's
And
great.
those things right there, and working with coaches myself, just a
Hmm.
profound difference on my life.
Absolutely. It's huge. And the more high performing people, the more people that I talk to and surround myself in business that are doing really well, there's a trend. And that trend is they start their day with a very positive spin, a very positive intention. I go through an 8-minute cycle myself. It's only 8 minutes because I'm also like moving. I'm the type of person that likes to move quickly. So, it's a couple minutes of prayer. That's how I start my day. I do about 5 minutes of meditation. So that's 7 minutes right there. It's actually past 8 minutes. I'll say it's probably 15. And then, set my intention. Like, what's my win today? Like, what am I going to do today that is my win? My win for today was making sure that you and I got together on and recorded this podcast episode, this streaming show episode. I'm like, we're going to do this today. And so that was my win for today. And then also, like, what's one thing that I can do to help someone else in the world? Like, I try to think of these two things. I can tell a lot. I've told a lot of people this. I used to be angry too, Doug. Like, I was angry and resentful about some of the things that I had experienced in life. And what I found is that you can't be angry and grateful at the same time. So if I could stay in gratitude, I could start to lose and let go of the anger. And I'm purposeful with my mindset to do that every single day. And then I do a little bit of light stretching. And then I just write down like my win. What is my win today? And I can tell you just by, writing it on paper, there's a 40% greater chance that I'm going to accomplish that than it would be if I didn't do that.
Yep.
So I have to go face it later. I have to be like, okay, did I record with Doug today or didn't I? Well, I can say I did. So now I'm happy, right? So those
Yep.
are things that those are game changers. Like, when you start your life and your day like that, it is a differentiator.
It
As you,
is. And
yeah,
one of the things that I did, and it ties into everything you just said there,
yeah.
unbelievably. And it's because of the research I've done as well and the studying, is I have an acronym for every day. WIT, WIT.
Okay.
W is for wisdom. Did I gain or share wisdom in a way that's purposeful today?
Yep.
And I ask myself these questions at night. Intention. Did I live my day intentionally or did I just drift through the day?
Yep.
Sometimes we need days where we just need to take our self care. And that's not drifting, that's being intentional about refueling ourselves.
Yep.
T, was I thankful? Did I live my day with a thankful
Mhm.
mindset? Because the attitude of gratitude, we can't be thankful or grateful and
Right.
angry at the same time.
I love that. I love that acronym. That's pretty awesome. And I love acronyms that are simplistic. That's a three letter acronym that's easy to remember. And you can really lean into that, fall back on that. It's something that can really anchor you. So I love that. That's great, Doug. As we talk about 2026, tell me some of the things that you're excited about from now moving forward into this year, some things that maybe you're working on or something that just inspires you in 2026.
Um, I've been quietly working on a concept of my own, and I think I found somebody to team up with to make this happen. And we're talking about doing an in-person event.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. I was thinking large scale, like beyond that, and really realistically, that plan's a 2027, 2028 plan.
Hmm.
But to get there, we got to start small. And I think 2026 is going to be doing an in-person event. I've got somebody to partner up with. We're
Hmm.
in the midst of having those talks,
Yep.
and it'll be life changing.
Yeah, that's exciting. Would you do it in the US or would it be in Canada or would it be in both places?
We're thinking Canada
Oh,
because it's a fellow
exciting.
Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're based in like the Toronto area, right, Doug?
Yeah. About an hour west of Toronto.
That's so fabulous. I was just at another retreat a couple months ago, and I met an incredible woman business owner from Toronto. She was so sharp. And she has worked as a recruiter for years, and then she's recently written her own book. She's about to release it, and she has her own coaching business where she helps people secure like their dream job. She was so cool. I loved working with her.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so there's so many cool things happening in Toronto. She's like, you've got to come up. She's like, there's some fun stuff happening up here. And I'm like, I want to. I haven't been to Toronto in a couple of years and I miss it. I'm close to the border, so it's
Yeah.
pretty far. It's pretty easy for me to get across the border to see Doug and my friend Irina. I can be there in like 2 hours, which is pretty cool. Um,
Excellent. I'll keep that in
yeah,
mind.
yeah, it's pretty cool. As you're just navigating things and as you just like think about everything in general, Is there any like profound learning that you had like last year that you said, you know what, this is something that I learned. I either learned it the hard way or maybe I learned it the easy way, but this is something that I really learned in 2025 and I want to pull this into 2026 with me because I think it can be a game changer for people.
I would say one of the biggest things I learned was that we're so quick to dismiss ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and to think that who am I to do this? Who am I to do that? Who am I to lead this way? Because once we do it, we think everybody should do this. Everybody's been doing this. Like, I can't believe I'm so far behind. But the reality is, there's so much for us to learn,
Yes.
but there's also so much that we know that other people don't know.
Yes.
And that's where we can lead them. And I got stuck in the comparisonitis disease of looking at my mentors that they've achieved this great success that I want to achieve and I'm aiming to achieve, but thinking, who am I to achieve that? Well, they didn't wake up one morning that great. They had to take steps,
Mm-hmm.
the same steps that we're taking.
Do
And
you
I,
often hear, because I've often heard some of our joint mentors, you and I have a couple of people in common. And what they've always told me is don't compare my year 20 to your year 2. And
yeah,
I feel like we all get guilty of that. Like we're looking at people that have been in business, 20, 30 years. They have a depth of breadth of, wins and failures actually. And they're honest and transparent about it. And I think that's why it attracts, really honest people like you and I to them
yeah,
because we want to be with authentic people. And it's so true. I think we get stuck in that, Doug, where we compare like our year 2 or year 3 or year 5 to their 30 years in business. And
yeah,
that's just unfair to do to yourself, you know?
absolutely.
And I tell people we gotta crawl before we can walk and then walk before we run. And so there is a cadence to this in
Yeah,
business. And there's learnings that you can't skip, you
that's
know?
right.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
like the hockey stick curve. It's a slow curve, but
yep,
once you start having that success, it just compounds on itself. It's like if you double a penny every day for 30 days,
right. Yep.
right?
Compounding interest.
The first 10 days suck,
Mm-hmm.
but day 15 and on, it gets really exciting. It's the same thing. It's the first 10 years of trying to grow something. It's challenging and it's a
Mm-hmm.
struggle. But when you get past those years, it really starts compounding. Those mentors, their year 20 is because they had those first 10 to 15 years.
Yeah. I can remember telling a couple of people that wanted to come into my core business is financial, right? Fiduciary financial planning for business owners and individuals. And some younger people, I can remember interviewing them, and I'm like, listen, this is a calling. It isn't like a job. Like you have to like live, breathe, eat, this whole industry because only 1 in 10 of us will be in business in 5 years.
Yeah.
And they were like, what? And I'm like, yeah, this is a very hard business. This is not for the weak of heart. Like, and I kind of knew that when I left my big corporate job to come into this business. I'm like, it's not going to be easy, but if I can make it what I think I can make it and make this process different for people, I think I can make an impact in the lives of others. And that's what inspired me to do this.
Nice.
So, yeah, this is a question, Doug, I ask everybody. So if you could go back and talk to your 18-year-old self, young Doug, about maybe a life lesson that you've had or something that you've learned along the way that you're like, oh gosh, I wish I could go back and tell my younger self this. What would that lesson be?
Hmm. It would have to be something that was more negative than anything because a lot of the lessons we have in life build the character we have.
Yeah.
Um, I would have to say that the biggest thing for me that I wish I had learned then would be number one, if you want to change a habit, you need to change your identity that goes with that habit. And it doesn't matter what the habit is. If you're a spender, if for me it was smoking, it took me years and years and years of trying to quit before I finally succeeded. And that was when I changed my identity of it. Um, and just be kind to yourself.
Yeah, these are big. Those are pretty profound lessons, Doug. Boy, when you just said that, it just really struck me and really rang true. Like, if you really want to change a habit, you have to change the identity that you've connected to that habit that's actually become part of who you are.
Yeah.
And until you unlock that connection, it'll be very difficult for you to change that habit.
Yeah.
That's very profound. Um, and being kind to ourselves, like I don't think we can say that enough to like everybody because, you know, in today's world, but even in yesterday's world, people are just tough on themselves. They're just really hard on themselves and they can be hard on each other. And I think the more and more that we're more kind to ourselves and that we show more kindness, just the better the overall world becomes, you know, lifting the
Yep.
vibration, so to speak, of the planet. I can tell you, like, I used to answer this question a little differently about a year ago. The question, which was, you know, what would you go back and tell your 18-year-old self? Mine was a year ago or 2 years ago, it was, you're not alone. Like, you're never alone. I used to think I was so alone. Like, I was just like, I'm just so alone and nobody gets me type of mentality. Like, people don't get me. I'm different. I feel alone in the world. And I came to the epiphany that God is always with me, you know, and so I was never really alone. And it took me a little bit of waking up to realize that. But my answer has changed. And my answer is one day soon, you will be the leader of your family because your parents transition.
Yeah.
And this past year, as you know, I've lost, you know, my mom a year and a half ago, and then I lost my dad in February. And I'm now the matriarch of my family. And that is a big, profound step
Yeah.
that I think that we often, like, we don't even realize it's coming for us, and then we're there. And I think you want to try to have as many conversations as you can with the patriarchs and matriarchs of your family so that you bring true the legacy that they may want to transfer to your generation, but to the next generation that comes after you. And I've felt the impact of that. And I'm like, wow, like this is something that if I could go back and tell myself, it's like every year along the way, you are preparing for that role and
Yeah.
get ready. So it's a big change. And I found, you know, what I've learned this year is that I feel more and more called to help people with what is your legacy plan with your family? Like, what is important to you? What are values and things that you want to transfer to your kids and to your grandkids?
Yeah.
And whatever you're doing, does that represent that transfer? Is it in alignment with who you want to be and what you want to do? So this is a different conversation that I started having with people. And boy, it's really opened a lot of boxes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been pretty cool. It's been pretty fun. Where can we catch you in 2026? Are there any events that you've committed to, any speaking things that we should share with our listeners that you're going to be a part of?
So the only speaking engagement that I'm committed to right now is actually happening about 24 hours from now.
Yeah, tomorrow,
From this,
right?
yeah, with David Rablik.
Yeah.
Seventh time around. Aside from that, I haven't committed to any speaking engagements or events for the year.
Okay. Well, definitely.
I kind of took my foot off the gas a bit just to kind of regroup and look around the circle I'm in and make sure that I'm in the right community and I don't need to change direction, because as we grow, we sometimes outgrow people.
Yeah.
And it's just looking at the circle I'm in and reevaluating that and making sure I'm in the right circle for this stage of my life.
I love that, Doug. And you know what? It's good to be reflective. It's good to, when you feel called to do that, take a little step back, little pause, and make sure that what you're doing is it in alignment with the direction that you want to head. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. That's really wise counsel. So kudos to you for that. Keep us in the loop with your upcoming things that you may be planning with your partner that you're strategizing with for your event. Like, definitely let us know. I would love to share it with our network when that comes to the date of, you know, you doing what, if it's a retreat or if it's a event, let me know. I'd like to share it with the network. With Divine Abundance, as you guys know, I will be dropping all of Doug's links, so all of his social media links. And if you have any questions, you can reach directly out to him. And you are currently taking on new clients at this time, Doug?
I am.
Okay, great. That's great. Thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been my pleasure, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
You got purpose, you got fire. He's the spark that lifts you higher. You were made for joy, made for more. It's time to